to be done.
Yo, people, welcome back to another episode. Finally, international break is over. It's over for till March, I think. So it's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. Finally back to club football. They need to change international football, man, because it's getting too boring now. But a lot has happened over the last 48 hours. There's nowhere else to start but OT, man. And your boy Ole's gone. The white magic has finally worn off. It's gone. United lost 4-1 to Watford. It was, you know what, I'm deep in here. I think those last two goals killed him. The last two goals, it was like 2 goals in like the last like 3 minutes that killed my man. Because let's ask this: if they lost 2-1, would he get sacked? Denzel, would he be sacked if he lost 2-1?
Yeah. He still would have got sacked. The thing is, you know what's crazy? I haven't even watched back the highlights. Like, I was at work and I saw we lost 4-1. And the thing is, it's nuts because I wasn't shocked. I wasn't shocked by the result. It was what was needed to get him the sack. I feel like he should have been sacked a long time ago. And I feel like the club kind of did him a disservice. They should have got him out of there straight away. Like, he just wasn't built for the job. That losing streak started off, was it Everton? Started off at Everton. I'm not too sure. Did we lose the Everton game or was it a draw?
I don't know what happened after.
No,
We drew, but ever since Everton, it just went downhill from there. Because I know we lost against Leicester. Then there was the loss against Liverpool. Then there was the loss against City. Watford, which was the final nail in the coffin. I think he lost 5 out of the last, how many games? 7 games or something. Yeah, 5 out of the last 7 games. That's relegation form. That's absolutely abysmal. He was lucky to even have the job for that long. I feel like he should have walked away with his head held high a lot earlier, because if he let it get to this point, the whole mutual agreement thing, I think is just PR BS. Like, he knew he was a whack manager. In fact, whack manager, maybe that's a stretch, but he just wasn't doing well. I just think it was just PR spin to try and make it look like they mutually agreed, but they didn't really. In reality, we knew he was gone. After the 4-1, I said, if he doesn't get sacked by the end of the day, or I don't wake up tomorrow morning and he's not sacked, I'll be furious. The club knew what to do. I thought it was a bit disrespectful how the information got leaked through Romano and other sources, rather than the club actually saying with their chest that we came to a decision that will sack the manager. I don't like the way Man United stuff gets leaked out all the time. Like, it's like we're not quick and concise with decisions. Like, someone has to go and leak it, and then we have to do it our way. Like, no, just come out and say, this is the scenario. We've sacked Ole, we're now looking for a replacement. And in fact, I'll let others speak. Let me let you guys speak on as rival fans, what do you guys think about the sacking before I get into the details?
What you were saying about the what's it called? The club leaking. I think every club does that now.
But most clubs are kind of ruthless in the way in which
I know what you mean. Like, I think other clubs do it tactically. I think Man United is just kind of poor, like it just kind of like filters through.
Yeah. Like, the fact that they came out with the official announcement the next day, like, we've known for almost a day now that manager's gone.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, I don't like the way they did that. Just come out and say that has been sacked. I don't like the way they did that at all. But yeah, I'll let you guys speak as rival fans.
You go first, innit? What was your thoughts?
On the sacking, I think there's been 3, 4, maybe even 5 times where one player has saved his job or one game has saved his job. So I think it's long overdue. I don't think anyone was really surprised. But I think the kind of way that it's been done kind of sums up really why he was in a job and what kept him there. It's purely sentiment, to be honest. It's purely sentiment. Like, the interview, him coming out crying and saying, "Oh, it was a great time, I wish to come back." Like, I get it, he's a legend and whatnot, but like you said, it's not ruthless. Like, Man United, it was just sentiment, really, why he got the job and why they wanted to keep him, and all the legends are saying, yeah, Ollie's at the wheel. It's just because he's their friend, and it was sentiment. Like, Chelsea, for example, they sacked Frank Lampard and didn't think twice about it. A lot of people even thought it was very harsh, the way they sacked Frank Lampard. And, I mean, Chelsea seem to be... They won the Champions League the same year. So I think in this game, you kind of have to be ruthless. And for me, it kind of sums up the board and the owners kind of as a whole. Because what I was saying to Josh before is I don't think they're football people. I don't think they understand
They're
like
businessmen.
football. I don't think they have like a I don't think they understand how like the culture and the direction they need to go in. So that's why I think right now they made a big kind of mess of this Oli sacking, because they don't really have an option that really wants to come apart from maybe Pochettino, and they kind of he didn't leave on the note that he wanted to leave on, or that the fans wanted him to leave on, if you know what I mean. Like a lot of fans either wanted him gone a lot quicker, or they wanted him to be given a better send off.
100%. Yeah, no. Everything you said is correct, man. Like they should have sacked him earlier, man. Like you were seeing it was getting to the point where the feeling was is like you're just delaying the inevitable, innit? It kind of felt point. And I still don't agree with like fans wanting the team to lose, but you do kind of get that you understand where they're coming from in terms of he's out of his depth now. What are we achieving here? Like what are we doing here? But I just never liked the idea of you support a team but you want them to lose to satisfy your own agenda.
But you know what it is though? You know what it is? I think the worst it got was when rival fans are chanting Ollie's at the wheel in other states. Like at Anfield, we were 3-0 down at Anfield, and Arsenal fans are chanting Ollie's at the wheel because they know that as long as Ollie's the manager, Man United are not going to be serious. City fans are beating Everton chanting Ollie's at the wheel. Like that's embarrassing. That's when you need to realize, hey, we took it a bit too far.
100%, man. And it kind of did tarnish his legacy, man.
I don't think it did. I'll be honest. Because at the end of the day, we're not dumb. We realized what he actually did for the club as a player. And when he did get sacked, the number one trending thing was not Ollie out or blah blah blah. It was thank you, Ollie. So I know there's a lot of loud people who like. Obviously, the loudness of the hate is going to be more than the loudness of the support. But there were a lot of people that were thankful for what he did. Like he did give us a kind of foundation to build on. So in that sense, I do have to respect him. He did. You could say he brought the feel good factor back, but football's not about feel good factor. It's about winning flipping trophies. So he did bring the feel good factor back. Yeah, that's all well and good. 1-0 trophies. But now it's time to get serious, and now it's time to actually win stuff. Like it's time now.
100%. Let me pull this up.
I think people will look back on it. Like I think revisionism will be very kind to Ollie though.
Yeah.
Because I think like the team that he started with and the team that he's kind of brought you to, and especially if the next manager goes on to win trophies, I think they'll say, "Oh, Ollie's squad building was very good. Ollie brought us through the dark period."
Yeah.
Which I don't know.
Was this
that night at PSG? That was his best moment by far. Definitely his best moment. But the thing is with that game, I feel like it kind of gave everyone the false image. It gave everyone a false image. Even when they announced during the season that they'd given them the permanent contracts, I was angry. I was not happy at all. I said that decision is premature. We should wait till the end of the season before we make a decision. And it's just a board. I don't know, like why are you not waiting until the end of the season to make that call? Like why are you giving them the job? And that's another thing I want to get onto now with the whole setup of we're gonna get Carrick now. He's gonna manage 1 or 2 games. Then we're getting an interim manager, and then we're gonna figure it out at the end of the season. I do not want to see Michael Carrick as manager for more than 1 game. Tomorrow against Villarreal should be his only game as manager. After that, I do not want to see him in that dugout. I don't want this whole new manager bounce BS. Well, Carrick's at the wheel. Carrick's won 5 games in a row. We're back. Nah, piss off. He's not a manager. He's not a manager good enough to manage Man United. He was in the same coaching staff as Ollie, and he was doing jackal. So I do not want to see Michael Carrick as interim manager for more than 1 game. I understand the 1 game against Villarreal. Cool, because Ollie's just been sacked. But after that, I didn't want to see Michael Carrick in a position, even in the coaching staff, I don't want to see him in a position. I know that's harsh on him, but he was part of the issue as well. I have a lot of respect for Mike Phelan. I have a lot of respect for what he did with Sir Alex Ferguson, but it just didn't work with him under Ole as well. I feel like we need a whole fresh coaching staff.
But they're staying.
And let me just go into the
Phelan and the McKenna guy. I think they're staying.
Yeah, at the moment they're staying. They'll probably stay till the end of the season. But when the new manager comes in at the end of the season, I don't think they're going to be here. And that brings us towards the Pochettino, but I'll get onto that later. But in terms of the interim manager, this is my ideal scenario. I think we should get Ragnick as an interim and then try. A lot of people have said this, by the way. I'm not the first one to say this, but we should probably get Ragnick as an interim. A lot of people are saying permanent, but nah, I don't want him as a permanent manager. Interim and then move him to a position in the board after he's finished his stint. But the board at Man United love their power, and I don't think they're going to do that. There's even reports that Ed Woodward's going to extend his stay at the club, which is I don't like swearing, so I'm not going to swear. But it's BS. It's just stupidity. Like I can't understand. I can't process it. I don't understand why you'd want a guy like Ed Woodward carrying on at the football club to oversee Solskjaer's successor. Like piss off. No, I don't want to see it. I do not want to see it. Even the whole interim manager thing, the fact that you've laid it out that you're not gonna hire a manager straight away. It's gonna be interim to the end of the season. You just basically voided this season, and we still have a lot to play for. We're still in the Champions League, still an odd FA Cup maybe, and I don't. The league, I feel like the league is long gone. Probably it's gonna be a top 4 battle from now on, which is just ridiculous when you think about it. With the squad that we have, absolutely ridiculous. But I don't like all this, we'll just push everything till next season. Like, if there are people available now and you can negotiate something now, get it done now.
What is there though? That's the question. Because let's be honest, I think the Man United, the next appointment is I think we can all agree is very important. So
very, very important.
I don't think they should rush it and get someone unless they're 100% sure.
It is important because
it's very important.
I feel like
they're in win now mode.
Yeah, we have to win now. And the thing, obviously we'll get on to the new manager talk. Or does anyone want to say anything before we go on to the new manager?
We'll talk about Ole's
the candidates.
We'll kind of talk about Ole's tenure in the whole, innit? But
okay, fair enough.
But yeah, carry on with what you're saying.
Oh well, the new okay. So obviously we've all seen there's reports of Poch wanting to come to United. I think there's too much pressure on him at PSG. That's probably why he wants to leave and come United. Personally, from his perspective, I don't see why you would want to leave PSG where you have everything at your disposal. Maybe it's because he doesn't have as much control as he would like. But bro, you're playing with Mbappe, Neymar, and Messi. But he knows that if he doesn't win a Champions League, he's gone. So I feel like he's like, I might as well go to a project. Like if it gets to the end of the season, I'm probably gone regardless, unless I win this Champions League trophy. So I might as well just go to United now. I was attracted to the position when Solskjaer was interim boss. He was the favourite when Solskjaer was interim boss as well. So I feel like if you can get a Pochettino in now, then that would probably be a suitable move. Ten Hag as well, but Ten Hag would probably have to wait till the end of the season. Zidane, I think, he doesn't want it. So yeah. My thoughts on it.
With the interim, obviously I hear the character. Yeah, it should only be a couple games, but the interim manager, I don't know.
Steve Bruce. United DNA.
I don't want Steve Bruce. I don't want to Wayne Rooney. I don't want to Brendan Rodgers. I don't want this Brexit BS all over the team.
But realistically, though, who's gonna come in for 6 months? Is any decent manager gonna leave their job for 6 months at United?
They should.
That's why you don't have a manager that leaves their job. You have someone that doesn't have a job.
You give the interim job to Ernesto
Valverde.
Yeah. So the end of the season.
I don't know. Would he come for 6 months though, knowing he's going to be replaced?
I don't think he'll get another good job. He hasn't had a job in a while now. He left Barca 2019. Even later than that.
Yeah.
Was it 2018? It might have been 2019. He's been out of a job for a minute now.
Maybe.
I don't know. That's not a United move though. I don't think United.
I heard Enrico talks as well.
Rooney or Carroll.
Nah. We don't want this again. Not again, please. Not again. I don't want to see it. I don't want to Wazza. And then he comes in, he does crap as interim, or he does well at interim, and then we start gassing him. Oh, Rooney's at the wheel. Wazza's at the wheel. Oh, Darren's at the wheel. Fletcher's at the wheel. No, don't want to see it. Just get someone that you know can do a job for the 6 months, and then if you need a Ragnick and you can offer him the position, which I doubt, of a board member, which I doubt will happen, do that. But don't get these guys who have no experience whatsoever. This is one of the biggest clubs in the world. Let's move like we're one of the biggest clubs in the world for once in our lives. Like, please, I'm begging. I don't want that type of person as an interim.
Give it Nuno for 6 months.
Probably do a better job than Ole.
I don't even know if he's a better manager than Ole still. I can't lie. Like, let's be real. There's not many on the market. You kind of got to accept like the position that you're in right now. You know? So
yeah, that's why I think the board was kind of poor. Like,
I mean, the only other option, if they had acted quicker, would have been Conte, innit?
Yeah, but we didn't act quick enough, and
Yeah,
I don't think the United board know that
issue.
Conte demands a lot from the board.
But that's
probably
the
the reason
issue.
why they didn't go with him.
What direction are you going in, bro? Like the choices of managers.
they don't know, bro. Yeah. The board don't know.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. So if you're getting the direction doesn't make sense. Like, let's look at it. Yeah, you went from Moyes to replace Sir Alex. Obviously, at the time, he had big expectations in it, and
that was a poor decision, which I didn't agree with.
Fair enough, innit? They say
it was Sir Alex's wish, I guess, but
yeah, exactly.
It wasn't the right wish.
Big influence on that, so they didn't give him time because at the time United were a top team in it. Even though the squad was aging, their standards were still to a high level. So what he could get away with, let's say Ole, Ole could get away with, Moyes couldn't get away with back then. So he got sacked. So at the time it made sense, innit? They got in Van Gaal.
Yeah. Van Gaal era was decent, you know. It wasn't as bad as people think it was.
But that's the thing with Van Gaal. Van Gaal has, obviously, he's another, Dutch managers, they love positional play, they're philosophy managers. And obviously, he's come out and said, these guys didn't back me. And that's why at times the football's not going to be as good because you need players that you need players that can adhere to his tactics to a high level. If they don't, then it's going to look functional. It's going to look, there's not going to be any flow to it. So you didn't back him. Then you go to a totally different direction to Jose. And now you went to Ole, who he does have some similarities to Jose in a sense, but he's still different. So it's a bit like you're going to Conte now. It's a bit mix and match. Unless you're going to do Chelsea where you're always consistently going to just back the manager, buy players. You got to be careful with this thing, man. You got to be careful. So.
But the board don't know how to win. Like I said, they're not football people. They don't know how to win. Like the last time this particular board was like winning was when Fergie was the manager, and they didn't have to do anything really. They could just rely on Fergie and his United. That's where United DNA came from, because Fergie was such a good manager and was basically in charge of the entire club and ran it that United way.
Yeah, they also had, what's his name, Denzel? David Gill, innit?
David Gill, yeah. David Gill left the same time as Ferguson, so that was a big loss as well.
You done Moyes dirty a bit though. How can David Gill just leave him like that as well? I think he had the job anyway, so I get it.
Yeah, he went to UEFA. Yeah. David Gill back would be very nice, but that era's past now. We need to stop looking back at those eras because we've tried to replicate it. Yeah, we've tried to do the whole thing. Well, let's get Ole in. He reminds me of Sir Alex a little bit. Nah, we're not that team anymore. We need to build a new philosophy. We need to build a new identity. We can't keep on living in the past anymore. Like, it's gone.
You guys need to forget completely about Sir Alex, because I saw people comparing.
Well, we can't. Obviously, you can't because of.
But in comparison, though, like I saw people comparing Sir Alex's first 2 seasons to Ole and saying, "Oh, Ole's doing a great job." But when Sir Alex picked up, you guys were 22nd. You guys were relegation.
Context.
It's completely different contextually. That's why it pissed me off so much, the Ole and Ferguson comparisons. Like, no one near Ferguson. Ferguson built a massive foundation for all these managers to come and take over and do well, and none of them have succeeded in doing that. Yeah. So we need to just forget about this whole Ferguson DNA or the United DNA. Let's get the old players back in the coaching system. No, football is completely different now. We need a new philosophy, we need a new identity, and we need someone who wants to win.
Let's even look at Ole's time. But what you're saying with the identity thing, me and Dan were talking about it. really it just comes from winning, innit? But I guess it's the way you win. United have, I feel like you never really had a specific style like that. You know, sometimes you would play counter-attacking, sometimes it would be possession-based. But I feel like when it comes to like this identity thing, I think there is a certain element of staying true to who you are. So Ajax and Barca, I think they do stay true to who they are. Obviously, they will have down periods in those times, but you still stay true to who you are, but you still are receptive of the changes in and around you, innit? You're not closed off to what's going on. I think, like you're saying, United need to be a bit more open to how football is changing. I feel like, you know, they're a bit stagnant. But wait, was this the game that Jose got sacked in it? 3-1?
Yeah, it was. With Shaqiri scored, yeah.
Lingard scored, I didn't even know. So you won.
Yeah, the first game was Cardiff. With Ole Rep.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Our first loss was against Arsenal.
Damn, you went on a mad run.
So, yeah, exactly. The run was crazy, to be fair. It was champions form to an extent. And then
off poorly, though. Wow.
Yeah,
I think that was when he got the contract.
Yeah.
Yep.
You man ended the season off poorly. And then you nearly came fourth anyway. Not far. Damn. Got knocked out quarters. Oh yeah, champs. Oh yeah, I remember you man got dominated by Barca that game. But let's look at the squad though. Damn, this squad is poor, bruv. No. Lindelof, Bailly. Has Bailly ever played like over 20 games in a season?
No. He doesn't rate Bailly too tough.
I don't blame him, man.
Nah, Bailly's actually a good player.
I think his sample size is too small and he plays Carabao Cup games and stuff, so he looks better than he is.
Bro, when I saw him do a bicycle kick in the final and missed the ball,
this guy's a crackhead.
Nah, get out, man. I don't want him.
I like that.
How you doing a bicycle kick in your own box and you missed the ball?
I said, when the error's so diabolical, you just write the player off.
Bro, kind of donut is that, bruv?
It's my man. Don't be dissing, babe.
And I remember this season, you man started off poorly. This was before Bruno came in it. So
yeah,
this was like, I think, when did he come? It was like Wolves, I remember. So this was like pre-Bruno. You man weren't actually that bad. No. Oh yeah, here's where it was bad, isn't it?
It's just inconsistent.
Yeah.
Bruno's first game was against Wolves. I remember the draw. And then look. Where is it?
Where?
Where is it? Where's the Wolves game?
Oh, here.
There.
Keep on scrolling down. Yeah. Look, from the 1st of February. Look at it now.
Yeah.
We didn't lose a game when Bruno came in.
That was that
we didn't lose a game.
Lockdown.
Yeah.
We didn't lose a game after Bruno came in.
I remember there was one point you man was sourcing. There was one point where you man were playing good football. I remember. There was actually a time.
Yeah. That was prime Oli ball.
Yeah. You man had a good defensive record as well.
Yeah.
Goal scoring wasn't too bad, didn't it?
That semi-final was poor.
Yeah, I remember.
Because Chelsea weren't even that good.
That was Lampard times as well, wasn't it? Lampard times. Wait, Sanchez left. I was thinking Sanchez wasn't there.
Yeah, Sanchez was on loan, innit?
Yeah. So in his first season, he bought James, who was a flop. Wan-Bissaka. Is he a flop? I think he's been.
No.
I think he's been.
Nah, give it a rest.
He's underwhelmed.
He's not gonna.
I think he's been steady, in my opinion.
He's underwhelmed.
Okay, we bought him for defensive stability, and he's bought defensive stability.
I don't agree with that. You've got the worst defensive record in the Big Six.
Yeah, but that's just this season. Everyone's had a sleep in this season. Like, in the team.
Remember that season? So, that season, you did have a good defense. Let's be real.
Yeah.
You know, we have to look. We do have to look at it contextually from off.
But I think Wan-Bissaka. I don't think Wan-Bissaka has been worth what you paid for him. To be honest.
I do hear that. If I was to rate him out of 10 for their signing, I'd say 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I would have said he's not 5.
He hasn't been shocking. but he hasn't been outstanding. He's been in the middle, if you get what I'm saying. I do think he's very...
Based on what we bought him to do, he's done what we bought him to do. We didn't bring him to bomb forward and overlap and all that modern day right back nonsense. But yeah.
So would you say hit or miss, or would you just say
it's in the middle, somewhere in the middle? I wouldn't say it's a miss. No way.
Yeah, I do.
Because he's been solid. I think been decent.
Maguire.
I think there was a lot of better options though, if you know what I mean. Like, especially for 50 million.
Yeah, definitely. For the type of right back that you'd want. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jerry Maguire.
Maguire, I think he's been a miss.
I think he's been a hit, if I'm being honest.
In fact, no, I wouldn't say miss. I'll say somewhere in between. I just don't think he's captain material.
I agree. I think Maguire. Maguire's
going to lose a captaincy under the next manager,
and rightly so. Rightly so. Yeah. Let's be honest here. When you play for Man United, it's different than when you play for different teams. Man United, I think Liverpool are probably the same, but Man United more than anyone, there's a bigger spotlight, and you have to be able to step up to that spotlight. Maguire, he's good enough to play for Man United. He's not good enough to captain for Man United, because in every sort of big pressure situation, whenever Man United seem to be there, he seems to crumble. And I think my biggest concern for him really is just the shamelessness of him. Like, how can you have 6 months worth of stinkers? Obviously, this is recent, but how can you have 6 months worth of stinkers, score 1 goal in effectively an international friendly in a game you won like 6-0, and do a celebration like you shut up your critics? Then the very next game, you concede 4 to one of the worst teams in the league and get sent off. And I don't think it was even that he conceded 4 and got sent off. The way he got sent off as well, it was totally unnecessary.
I actually don't know what happened.
He miscontrolled the ball. The Watford player took it off him and he dived in, 2-footed him.
It was calamitous.
And I think that
his
sums up
moments.
Maguire.
He has his bozo moments.
That sums up Maguire.
He is a bozo.
For United. And I don't think he's a bad player, because in a good system, in a good defensive structure, I think he'd be a very good player. But he's not the captain for Man United, and he just needs a break. I think maybe take him out of the team for a bit, take the captain's armband off him, because it's been a rocky road for Maguire at Man United.
To be honest, with him, I don't. When you listen to him, he doesn't sound like a captain in that sense. But I don't know, man. Because
he's not.
My perception of him as a captain, as a leader, kind of changed in the Euros. The fact that he took a pen in it, so I was kind of like, you know what, he has a bit of bottle to him in it. So I don't think he's a bozo or a loser in it. But I guess it's the aura.
Has the bozo moments. He's not he's not a bozo. He has bozo moments though.
But he's like, obviously he's nowhere near that level. But Van Dijk has an aura. And even look at Thiago Silva at 37. I still look at him and say, nah, he's got an aura about him. The way he leads, the way he commands his box. Maguire still commands his box well, but he doesn't have the aura like that. You get what I'm saying? That's why I say he's a good centre-back, but he's not well.
But you know what it is? I think when you make them bozo moments, your teammates can't respect you like that. If you're making a bozo moment nearly every week, your teammates can't look at you when you're shouting at someone. You can't shout at a man and say, what are you doing? When you're having a bozo moment every week. People are going to be looking at you sideways thinking, why are you talking? What do you mean? That's why the leaders usually are the best players. You can't be a leader if you're a loser. Maguire, he's a bit of a loser if you look at his CV especially.
I'm not going to say he's a loser, man.
4 relegations.
Well, he hasn't won anything.
If anything, fucking Bruno's a bigger loser. Every big game, this guy doesn't show up, but because he's a bit of a shithouse.
It's a different story, though. We'll get
what are you
Bruno.
talking about?
Tell me what big game.
Bruno's been. Speaking of Bruno, he's been a hit. He's been our best player.
He has been a hit, but
he's a pussy as well because he don't show up.
What?
Tell me a big game he showed up in.
That's a big red mark, by the way, on his CV.
Tell me a big game he showed up in, man.
Oh, Liverpool. He cooked against
the Carabao Cup.
What, the third round?
No, it wasn't It was an FA Cup.
In the third round.
FA Cup, the third round.
Oh yeah, so when it's okay, so when it doesn't fit your agenda of a big game, that's when you.
And by the way, he didn't have a great game. He scored a free kick. He had a poor game.
He wasn't poor. He actually played well.
He scored a free kick and done nothing the rest of the game. He came on as a sub and scored a free
he
kick.
did.
No.
Let's not use this as Bruno slander.
Yeah, no.
Let's
He has
focus
been a
on-
hit, yeah, and he has been one of your best.
Yeah, he definitely has.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Let's move on to the next season.
But let's look at the transfers out though.
I don't think we Lukaku. That's it, really.
Massive Valencia went as well. Yeah, no.
It's nothing really to. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you brought in Igalo. I forgot. Oh yeah. I thought that.
And he cooked. Until Cavani came, he cooked.
Hey, let's not stretch it.
But for the purpose that he was there, he did his job, and he was just there to do his job. So yeah. Looking at this season.
Good year. It was a good year.
You started off poorly, but then you picked up 4 minutes. Oh yeah, I remember you lost. Oh, this game was terrible. I remember this one. This game was shocking, man.
That game.
Wait, can you scroll? Okay, stop there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is really interesting though. This is why I don't think the season's completely lost. Okay, last year, 29th of November, we're in 9th place. Right now, where are we? 10th.
But we have double the amount of games played though. There's 6 games. We played 12.
Oh,
already.
Really? Crap.
I think so.
Oh yeah, because he started the season off later.
Yeah, we played 12.
You started the season off later last year.
Oh crap! Yeah, we might be in trouble actually.
No, but that's the thing. If
you're not out of the top 4 race.
No, if you go on a mad run, is anything's possible. It's about momentum and consistency.
I remember that Sheffield game was bad.
Yeah, that was where we thought we were going to win the league, and then it had a stinker against Sheffield, and then it went downhill.
Yeah.
Then John Fleck.
But no, since that game, we just went. It was second.
The man stayed consistently in the top.
Yeah, 2.
Really, December.
Yeah, like it was a good season. We just didn't win anything.
It was it was kind of from because he brought in McFred against Newcastle, innit? Is when he brought in McFred.
Yeah.
Really, you only lost 2 games after. No, actually 4. I forgot about those 2. But
because we ended off the season poorly as well.
The Leicester one doesn't really count because you played like what your B team, innit? Because you man played.
Yeah, I remember that. And Liverpool were burning.
12 points off top. Yeah, could I guess
74 points is not a bad take home though.
It was a good year. A good year.
74 points is solid. Top 4 really in a usual year.
So overall, what do we think about Ole's tenure? That was poor. And the Europa League loss as well was poor as well.
Oh yeah.
So overall, what do we think? I think it was a good foundation to build on, but overall it was a failure.
For the level of Ole, I think he just did a steady job in it. I think he did for his capabilities and what I feel like you're saying, he built a very strong, not a very strong, but a good foundation. And that's why I think he's a good manager. And I feel like people are so harsh when they try and make it seem like if he's the worst manager in the league and stuff like that. I think he did what he needed to do in it, but he's just not that guy. He doesn't have the juice to take you to the level that you wanted, and ultimately it showed this year. Innit?
I think you need to see Ole not as the final piece, but as like a stepping stone, if you know what I mean. Like before Klopp, there was like Brendan Rodgers who kind of set the foundations and gave him a little, to a less degree, because obviously Liverpool weren't very good, but the next manager has a lot of weapons to work with in terms of that squad. And Man United, player by player, is a very good team. So if you get a good manager who's capable tactically and can manage big personalities, Man United can be a very, very deadly team. Very deadly. So we'll have to see what the next appointment is. But I think in terms of squad building and bringing players in, he's put you in a much better place than he took you from.
Yeah, 100%. So who's our choices for United? So who are we saying is the guy?
It's looking at the moment like it's Pochettino. I did want Zidane, but if a manager doesn't want to come to your club, it's probably in the best interest that they don't go for that person. Yeah, I think it's Pochettino. I did want Pochettino when Ole was interim. A lot of people have questioned the way. It's not the same as Ole.
Or
Like
Brendan
you
Rodgers
can't.
either.
Yes, it's not the same thing at all. Pochettino worked with very limited resources when he was at Tottenham and still managed to get him to a Champions League final, still managed to get him to good league positions. If you give him a good squad, he's gonna cook, I think, personally. And we have a good squad, so he should cook. I feel like he probably just needs the CDM. I don't know whose choice would be to bring in a CDM. Because a lot of managers like to take some of their old players in which they had. Who was the CDM at Tottenham? I don't think
It was Dyer or Yama at times.
Musa Dembele or Dyer.
Yeah, nah, we don't want that. And his CDM, even his CDM at PSG, was it Trezeguet?
Idris Gueye is a good ball. He's a good ball winner though. Very good ball winner.
Yeah, but we need someone better than that.
But positionally,
we need better than that. So I don't want him looking to his old players to fill that void. Like we need a new, fresh guy for the CDM position. But it is looking like Pochettino at the moment. Ten Hag, I would really like as well. Brendan Rodgers, absolutely no way. No way. I do not want to see Brendan Rodgers at Old Trafford. I feel like we're just another banter club again if we get Brendan Rodgers. There was Luis Enrique talk. That's not gonna happen. Yeah, I just feel like we need to get a serious guy because we have a serious squad.
100%.
Yeah,
what about you, Dan? What do you say?
I think you hit the head. I think summed up pretty well, to be fair. I think Ten Hag or Poch, the two realistic options. I think two are very good. I think they're both good options, to be honest. Like I see a lot of people getting onto Poch for being a loser and whatnot, but I think he's a good manager, man. I think he's a good manager. And obviously at Spurs, we know that he was being absolutely like hung out to dry, to be honest, by Levy in terms of funds. So it'd be interesting to see what he does with Man United. Obviously, PSG, we know is a bit of a poison chalice, and managing all them superstars with all the expectations. Not many managers have pulled it off. Like even Thomas Tuchel didn't give them what they wanted in terms of Champions League. So it'd be interesting to see. He's another one. I think he's a good manager. I think he'd be good for the young players, but we'll see who Man United appoint. I'm interested because this is a very important one, in my opinion.
I hear that. Yeah, let's move on, man. Let's move on. I think we spoke about United for maybe 30 minutes or something. Let's move on to another game this weekend. Liverpool versus Arsenal. This game was seen as a sort of indication of how far Arsenal have come under Arteta this season, and Liverpool just showed Arsenal levels. Simple English, simple. But I want to get Dan's thought on what do you think the defeat shows you about how far away Arsenal are from the top three, and what particular areas do you think need improvement before you can make that step up?
To me, this game didn't really reveal a lot in terms of like what we didn't already know. I think everyone knows that Arsenal are in a completely different space to Liverpool, Chelsea, and Man City. And the 3 games that we've played against them this season have showed that. Like Chelsea beat us, I think it was 2 or 3-0 at the Emirates, and it probably should have been more. If it was at Stamford Bridge, it would have been a big defeat because I think we were just really, really poor. Man City obviously smashed us at the Etihad, and Liverpool beat us at Anfield quite convincingly. So I think everyone knows we're not anywhere close to them that level yet. But for me, I think the areas of weakness for us to get to that level was displayed quite well in this game. I think midfield we were pretty poor. I think Lokonga gave the ball away quite a lot, which is not ideal. Obviously Nuno Tavares, I'm not going to get onto him too much because he had his bozo moment and that cost us. But I think as a unit, in the first half especially, we defended quite well. So that's kind of showed, I don't know, because we still conceded 4 goals. And that's where the old Arsenal still kind of creeps in, where once the first goal goes in, just crumble, especially away from home, just crumble and concede 2, 3, 4, 5. So in terms of progress, it's hard to say from that sense, but most definitely you could see our weaknesses. Like in midfield, we couldn't retain the ball at all. We tried to play it out from the back in the way Arteta wanted us to, but Lokonga and Partey couldn't make it stick essentially. That Liverpool press was so suffocating, and it just kind of put us under more pressure. And especially going forward as well, I'm sick of this Lacazette guy. Oh my, he wasn't even like the worst player on the pitch, but his weaknesses are so prevalent in terms of our build-up play that the sooner we replace him with someone elite or someone that Arteta wants, you'll see a massive, massive difference. Because I think going forward, in the first half, we showed them a bit too much respect, where we didn't try enough to attack. We only tried to counter in very limited situations. And we did find some success. I mean, there was some openings, but no real chances. And for me, there was like 3 or 4 times where Lacazette got the ball in a good area, and either the final pass was poor, his touch was poor, or he made the wrong decision, simply put. So the attack and the midfield obviously are the biggest weaknesses that we have. But I still don't think once we address them, we'll be like, let's say, for example, next window, we buy a midfield partner for Partey and a couple of attackers. I still don't think we'll be in that space. I just think that's the next step to get to that space, because obviously Liverpool right now are one of the top 5 sides in Europe, I would say. So it'd be hard really to get there. But yeah, I was definitely disappointed with the way we crumbled. Like that second half for me was really, that was really old Arsenal-esque. That reminded me of like going to Stamford Bridge in like 012, 09, 010 and conceding 4, 5, 6, going to Old Trafford, going to Anfield and conceding. And that's not what you want to see when you talk about progress. When you talk about project, you don't want to see that creeping in, especially when you spent this much on defense. So I'd be interested to see how we address the other, because we've had really 3 of the hardest games, the 3 hardest games really in our fixture list. So I'd be interested to see how we go against the other big 6 teams. Like Man United is a good one that I'd like to see us play, and Spurs away from home. I'm interested to see, but people talk about process, progress, but whatnot. There was nothing like that at Anfield for me.
I think that what I gathered from the game in it was I don't even think you man necessarily crumbled in the sense. Obviously, I think they
I think we did. I think second half we crumbled really.
But what I mean by that, I feel like you man were too erratic. Like you saw like the way Lokonga at times was run. You know what really got me was that, for when Lokonga gave the ball away, you saw Ben White straight away dive in, and then you had Ramsdale come out. I understand Ramsdale coming out to close off the angle, but it's just like there wasn't a sense of calmness in it. It was almost like going head first. Like I remember when Mane was throwing goal, you just see Lokonga steaming through, like running, vacating his space, and then obviously Mane easily taps it in for Salah. Salah scores in it. I feel like because you lack the experience, I feel like the lack of experience kind of showed in the sense, rather than it was you just crumbled, you just couldn't handle it. I feel like you were trying to overexert, you're trying to overdo it. You're probably on the other end of the spectrum now, where you see even the way Arteta was on Klopp. Like, man was there throwing his arms about, like man was overdoing it. You know what I'm saying? Like I know you man are trying to be tough now, innit? You're trying to show that you're not pussy-holes, innit? But you man are forcing it a bit too much. You're showing a bit too much.
Because I don't think it was like tactically. I don't think tactically we got overwhelmed. Like in the first half, I think we actually defended quite well in the first half, but it's just that we didn't make anything offensively. Maybe that was because we couldn't keep the ball due to maybe Lokonga giving it away a lot or Tavares giving it away, maybe. But the second half, man, it just reminded me of us crumbling, like that, because it could have been more very easily. Liverpool missed a couple.
Ramsdale saved you a lot. Ramsdale, Ramsdale, even though I still think he was a bit erratic as well. You can tell this guy, this is what I'm saying about aura, innit? You can just tell when a guy is like, he's built for it, innit? Like this guy, I can tell he lacks pressure in it. Like,
he's a passion merchant. He thrives off it.
You can tell that he likes it. So he's going to be a very important player for you in the future, because you need someone like that in your back line, because he will definitely, even though he's still a bit erratic, I think he will definitely push through confidence in it. So I feel like Arsenal is just part of the journey, really, innit? Like, you've kind of invested so heavily in Arteta now, innit? I think this is just part of the stumbling blocks. And players like Lokonga have never experienced a game like this, like where Anfield is just so intense, like the crowd, the press, Klopp. Like
I think Anfield is probably the hardest place to go in Europe, to be honest.
Yeah.
And like, we're 2 seasons into our project, if you want to call it. Like, we're a long way from being where Liverpool are. A long way.
And that's what yesterday just showed, that, you know, there's levels to this. Like, big man, relax. You're not there yet. Because I know some Arsenal fans were saying, yo, see what you can do, and sneak a little something. Like, Liverpool just give you a good slap around the head, bro. Relax yourself. Man. You're not that guy.
Yeah, you came in positive in this game. I saw a lot of Arsenal fans out. They were really up for it. But at the end of the day, you have to remember that this is Liverpool. This is top 2 European clubs, in my opinion. For the past 3-4 years, they've been top 2 most years, top 3 or top 2 most years. So you're going up against it. I don't think it's too disheartening to lose against that type of side, especially with the resources that you guys have. But yeah, I don't think you should look into the loss too much, to be honest. I didn't think the Arteta Klopp fight was funny. I was like, well, what's my man doing beefing my man? Like, I was looking at it, I was like, bro, why is the ASOS model beefing the real deal? Like, yo, he needs to calm down. He needs to, like, Justin, you need to know your place. You're not that guy yet.
Passion.
Exactly. Like, I know you're trying to show that you have a personality and all that. You're not just like a paella merchant that sits on the sidelines and waves around like this. But there's the big boy, there's a big bench German, there's the little Spanish paella merchant. Like, you need to, there's levels to this. It's like Ole trying to beef Klopp. Like, bro, obviously I understand there's a rivalry there, so it would make more sense in a sense if Ole tried beef, but Ole's gone now, whatever. But it's like, at least it's like when Frank Lampard tried doing it too. Like, why are you little guys trying to beef big Jurgen Klopp, who's won the Champions League and the Premier League? Like, I don't get it. But yeah,
I respect it.
I just think it's fun.
I respect it, man.
Yeah, I respect the.
But you could tell he's a bit of a little you, bro. The way man was hands with the player, like, oh. It was a bit funny, innit? But
yeah,
it was good, man. It was good. But yeah, Arsenal, they're on the.
But there's a way to lose though. If Arsenal had kept it at 2-0, I think a lot of people would have gained more respect, because we actually defended okay in the first half. I think people will be like, okay, they're making a bit of progress where they're not getting smashed. But 4, people are like, okay, it's typical Arsenal where they crumble when the first one goes in.
I don't know, man. This one, it's not like it feels different, but it's just like, yeah, man, like Liverpool are that good in it, is sort of thing, innit?
So you think it's more Liverpool being levels than
Arsenal? Liverpool was slapping everybody up left, right, center.
But you did make quite a big mistake, so you did.
That's
what you did play your part in it. So it wasn't just like Liverpool, like.
Yeah, but Liverpool's a team that will capitalize off those mistakes. Not every team's going to capitalize off those mistakes. With Liverpool, you can't afford to make mistakes, or they'll batter you. Seen it multiple times this season.
Yeah. And I think it was there were a couple were individual mistakes as well. Like, it wasn't really tactical.
A lot of them.
Like Tavares,
for the Salah goal, I don't know what he's doing, running like a donut, bro, just like a madman. And
for the Jota goal.
Ben White for Jota, like I think it was Tavares as well for that one.
It was for both.
Tavares, but Ben White, he didn't need to slide in. He could have jockeyed him a bit, innit?
Yeah.
I mean, they're gonna learn from this. Sometimes you do have to get beaten quite harsh.
Yeah, you have to chalk them ones up to the game.
You got. Because even Pep got one from Everton in his first season as well. Klopp, it happens, and the issue is where the lessons aren't learned and continues to happen. That's where you start like, yo, we got a problem here. But yeah, I don't think there's too much you should look into. You should obviously be disappointed because no one ever wants to lose 4-0. But I don't think it's a major indictment. But yeah. Final topic. Fullbacks. AFs, as people like to say. Trent or Cancelo, because I saw the Cancelo pass, and I'm just like, yo, this guy is technical, bro. He's technical.
And I'll quickly say it before I would say Trent. even though I've had my fair share of slander towards Trent. But then again, I'll say Cancelo's more versatile. But at the right back position, I'll give it to Trent because he has actually improved defensively as well. But then again, it's another question. Like if you swapped teams, like if you put Trent in City and you put Cancelo in Liverpool, what does it look like? Is it too much change?
I don't know, man.
Is that much change really?
I think they're different though. They're different, so it's hard to like gauge.
Because I feel like Cancelo does a job in the Liverpool team, Trent in the City team.
Trent will definitely
really does a job.
He'll definitely.
Yeah, so I don't think there's a huge difference between the two. Obviously, they're two different types of players, but maybe I'll give the edge to Trent. In fact, nah, I hate Scousers. Let me give it to Cancelo. In fact, nah, I hate the blue side of Manchester too. It's a lose-lose situation for me. It's a bit crap. Yeah. Ethan Laird is coming up. Mate.
What's his name? If we're talking overall ranking of how good, like in terms of like the world level, you'd say Trent in it, but we're just talking it based on season sort of thing.
I still say Trent. Trent's done very well this season. As he
I see people look past. If Cancelo has a bad game, people look past it. If Trent has a bad game, no one look past it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people like Cancelo. Don't get me wrong, Cancelo is cold, and technically, I'd say he's technically better than Trent. His technical ability is higher than Trent's by, I'd say, probably quite a bit. But I think a lot of people want to hop on the Cancelo, not hype train, but they want to hop on his kind of buy stocks in him really, because they've slandered Trent so much in the past and because they don't like Trent. So they want to kind of have someone to use against him.
Don't arrive.
Yeah. Like, I think he's the closest, really.
Yeah, Trent. They're both special players, man. If I was to choose, I would probably side with Trent, and I do agree with, like, on the technical side, I would say Cancelo. The way he just moves with the ball, the way he glides with it, is a bit more aesthetically pleasing, isn't it? But
like people say, Trent could play midfield. Cancelo can play midfield. Like I think he's got the facilities for it. I don't think Trent really does, but that's not a bad thing. Like I think Trent is probably more suited to the right back role for most teams. I actually think Trent is better defensively because people rip Trent for being bad defensively, but Cancelo actually is quite poor defensively.
Yeah, and like Pep's system, obviously they have a lot of the ball in it, so they not really look. The defending is pressing. Like when teams get the ball, you press within like 6 seconds. I think he says, like, to win the ball back. That is the defense. Like to him, attack is the best form of defense. So I mean, his defensive weaknesses aren't really often exploited that often. So,
but would that because when people say that about Trent, the word system player comes up. When it's about Cancelo, would that still not be considered a system player when the system hides your weaknesses?
Bro, I don't believe in systems, the system merchants and stuff.
No, I'm not saying for you, but I'm saying in general, because no one will ever call Cancelo a system player. But the minute Trent makes a defensive mistake, they'll say, "Oh, Trent, he's so bad defensively. Klopp covers for him, Henderson covers for him." And I myself say that. I'm not even gonna lie. I myself am guilty of it. But it's a bit of a double standard with Cancelo.
How big do you think reputation plays a part in that? Because Cancelo played for Juve. He's Portuguese. You see someone like a Henderson. He's played for Sunderland. He was hounded by Liverpool fans in his early days. Trent was a big for Liverpool, but he wasn't, like, let's not lie, like we knew Trent was coming through like he was some amazing superstar in it. It's like, how big a part does your reputation play in the system thing? Because if you're well known, I doubt you will ever be seen as a system player, if you get what I mean. Like Griezmann, look at him and say, but yeah.
A conversation will be had about Griezmann another day, but massively, it's not even just system players, it's players in general, how players are rated. If you played for a good team in a different country, people will rate you instantly highly. Like, I don't mean to bring players up, but if Kai Havertz had played for a lower Premier League club and gone to Chelsea, people wouldn't rate him as highly as they do now just based on his performances. Like, and there's a lot of players like that. Like, if, for example, if Ben White had been playing, if Ben White was Spanish here, his name was, I don't know, Benjamin Blanco, and had been playing for Villarreal or Sevilla or Valencia, and Arsenal had brought him in and he's doing the exact same thing, people would be throwing him in all kinds of conversations. But obviously, because he came from Brighton, people are kind of getting onto it. Do you know what I mean?
You're seeing Ben White's technical ability though, like that guy.
Yeah.
Because I remember when the first time I saw him, it was Brighton v Man City, and he was playing in midfield. And obviously, my flatmate's a Leeds fan, innit? So he's been bigging him up a lot. I was watching this guy and I was like, yo, this guy plays like a natural midfielder. Like you could not tell that this guy was a centre back. Like the guy's technical ability on the ball is nuts, bro. But yeah.
And I think it's because he played for Brighton as well. Like people have been gassing up Pau Torres. Pau Torres is a name that has gone around the rounds, really. Like United were linked with him, I think Spurs were linked with him, I think Chelsea were briefly linked with him. And for that reason, for the fact that he played for Villarreal, which is a good team, and people don't watch Villarreal week in, week out, they assume, oh, this guy's cold. But from what I've seen of Pau Torres, he's not as good as people rate him. Like, I wouldn't say the gap between him and players in the Premier League is massively big. I would even say physically he's worse than players in the Premier League.
He's not very strong. He's not that strong.
He's the, for me, I think the way to describe him is the type of centre backs like Lindelof and Christensen. You know, them type of centre backs.
I think where Christensen's obviously back three, but he seems like he's gotten a bit stronger. Like I don't really see him get bullied, but back three still gotta be careful with that.
But you know them non-physical, technical archetype centre backs where sometimes they'll get bullied by players like Antonio and stuff, or Ivan Toney. It's long, like them players will be peak for them. But because obviously Pau Torres plays in a different country, people rate him highly. So it's interesting to see. But it's an interesting point where you bring up though about the technical ability of defenders and how it's becoming more.
Yeah, like I think it's just coming to a point like total football where everybody just has to be technically good, innit? Like goalkeepers as well have to be technically good. Look at how we were talking about Wan-Bissaka earlier. Like man looks like Bambi on ice, they say. So we start to question him, innit? I can't lie, no, with that though, as a footballer, there has to be like a certain like level in it. Like this guy, technically on the ball, he has shown improvements, but I don't know, he just looks so weird on the ball. Doesn't look like he knows what he's doing.
Because even when you look at the young right backs, compared to Wan-Bissaka, like I'm a massive fan of Livramento. Livramento technically is clear of Wan-Bissaka already. Like Livramento, Lamptey's another good example. These young right backs that are coming through look very technically good, and going forward as well, they look very exciting. So I'll be interested to see where the development is for like Ramsdale, for example, is a young goalkeeper, and like his distribution, obviously it's not at the level of someone like Edison, but going from what we had previously with Leno, who was seen at the time as better distributing than most goalkeepers, Ramsdale's in a completely different stratosphere in the way he sprays the ball.
100%, man, 100%. But any final points you want to bring up before we wrap up?
From this weekend, no. I mean, obviously, shout out to Conte. He done his thing for Spurs. You saw the passion merchant at the end.
Yeah.
It's all theatrics, though. It's all theatrics.
You know what? You say something about passion merchants. I saw a clip of Diego Costa, man. I missed that.
Underrated guy.
Bro, I missed that guy, man. Players like him, man, I miss them. You just need them, man. Drama. Different.
Anything to say on Stevie G?
I didn't even watch the game.
Didn't even watch that one, you know.
I didn't even check on Match of the Day to see how.
I would say hopefully he does well, but I don't really care as a Scouser, innit? See what he does.
It's a good win against Brighton. Brighton are good, so
yeah, did us a favor as well because the Brighton could have leapfrogged us, which is embarrassing to say. It's so embarrassing to say, but yeah.
But Dean Smith won as well. Who was the other new manager as well?
Wait, did Dean Smith win his match?
Yeah, against Southampton.
Is that their? How many games have they won this year?
I think that's their first win, you know.
Yeah.
They won against Brentford.
Oh no, yeah, it's the second win.
Oh, okay.
Newcastle's the only team that hasn't won.
Oh yeah, Eddie Howe, but he wasn't even there anyway. But they drew.
Looks like the
I
Saudis
was
might
out
have to be
shaking
broken
hands
up
with the
from
fans and
Championship.
got COVID.
Oh boy,
But yeah,
what a life.
it's gonna be interesting. Let's see. But yeah, you man. I think that's it for us today for this week. Champs this week as well. Looking forward to that. Any big games? I don't think there is.
Let me have a look.
There's
Chelsea,
a lot of big. There's a lot on the
Chelsea
line.
United.
Chelsea United this weekend. Yeah, actually, yeah.
Oh, Carrick's gonna get better. And
If he's still
Oh, he
there,
might
he's
do
gonna get better.
the Ollie thing. Hopefully he does the
Yeah,
Ollie thing.
yeah.
yeah, if he's still
Might
there.
be the fact. He might slap a 5 at the back. You never know. We'll
Man
see
City
what
are playing
happens.
West Ham as well.
Let's
Ooh,
see.
it's another big game.
I fancy West Ham in that game because they played a counter-attacking style, and City
Oh,
always do
you
badly
in?
against it.
Yeah, but yeah, people, we out. Stay blessed. Peace.